Have you ever stopped to consider the sheer elegance of the biological machinery operating in silence beneath your skin right now? We often speak of losing weight as if the mass simply vanishes into the ether, but the laws of physics tell us that matter cannot be destroyed, only transformed. So, where does it go? Before we explore this fascinating internal process, I would love to know where in the world you are joining us from today. Please, leave a comment below with your city or country. It is truly inspiring to see how far our community extends. When we stand before the mirror observing the changes in our bodies, we often perceive fat, particularly that stubborn visceral fat around our midsection, as a mere nuisance. We see it as an aesthetic adversary or a physical burden. However, from a biological standpoint, that adipose tissue is a masterpiece of energy storage, a survival mechanism refined over thousands of years of human evolution. It is easy to resent it, yet we must respect its efficiency. We frequently use the term burning fat, a phrase that conjures images of a fire or heat. While not entirely inaccurate, it simplifies a process that is remarkably sophisticated. We also hear the phrase melting fat, which might make us imagine a stick of butter dissolving in a frying pan. But our bodies are not frying pans, and the temperature inside us remains relatively constant. If fat actually melted inside us, the consequences would be catastrophic. Instead, what occurs is a complex biochemical disassembly, a meticulous breakdown of stored potential energy. Today, we are going to explore precisely what happens when that visceral fat, the kind that sits deep within the abdomen, wrapping around your liver, pancreas, and intestines, begins to retreat. We will not treat this as a mysterious event, but rather as a predictable, understandable, and deeply human biological reality. By understanding the mechanism, we cease to view our bodies as black boxes of mystery and begin to see them as the responsive, logical systems they truly are. To truly grasp how visceral fat leaves the body, we must first understand how it is stored. I would like you to visualize a grand, sprawling library. This is not a modern library with digital servers, but a classic, towering archive filled with endless shelves. This library represents your adipose tissue, your fat cells. The books stored on these shelves are not made of paper and ink, but of pure potential energy. In this analogy, the currency of energy, the calories you consume, are the manuscripts. When we eat more than we expend, the body, acting as a diligent librarian, binds 3 of these manuscripts together into a single, thick volume known as a triglyceride. The word itself gives us a clue. Tri for 3 fatty acid chains, and glyceride for the glycerol backbone that binds them, much like the leather binding of a book holds the pages together. These volumes are too large to leave the library on their own. They are bulky, stable, and designed for long-term preservation. They sit on the shelves of your visceral cells, waiting for a time of need. Now imagine the moment you start a caloric deficit. You exercise, you adjust your nutrition, and the body senses a need for energy. It sends a signal to the library. This signal is hormonal. Messengers like adrenaline and glucagon act as the head librarians. They rush into the aisles and unlock the shelves. But here is the critical part. They cannot simply throw the heavy triglyceride volumes out the window. They must disassemble them first. This process is called lipolysis. It is the equivalent of taking that thick bound book and carefully cutting the binding. An enzyme called lipase acts as the letter opener. It slices through the glycerol backbone, separating the 3 fatty acid manuscripts. Suddenly, what was one heavy, immobile object is now 4 smaller mobile components, 1 molecule of glycerol and 3 free fatty acids. Once separated, these components are small enough to slip through the membranes of the fat cell, the library doors, and enter the rushing stream of blood outside. This is the moment the melting effectively happens. The fat cell, once swollen with these thick volumes, begins to shrink. It does not disappear. The library remains, but the shelves become empty. The cell, like a deflated balloon, becomes smaller. This is the physical reduction you eventually see in the mirror. But the story does not end here. These liberated books have only just left the building. They have not yet been read, nor have they been destroyed. They are now floating in your bloodstream, waiting for the next phase of their transformation. We have successfully released the energy from the storage facility, but now it is floating in the busy highway of your circulatory system. The free fatty acids are not water-soluble. They are like oil trying to mix with the water of your blood. They cannot travel alone. They require a vehicle. Enter a protein called albumin. Albumin is the taxi of the bloodstream. It picks up these fatty acids and ferries them to the tissues that need energy: your muscles, your heart, and your liver. Once they arrive at their destination, let's say a muscle cell in your leg while you are walking, they must enter the engine room. This engine room is the mitochondrion. If the fat cell was a library, the mitochondrion is a pristine, high-tech fireplace. It is here that the burning actually occurs. But this is a controlled burn, known as beta oxidation. Inside this microscopic fireplace, the fatty acids are chopped into tiny 2-carbon segments. These segments enter a complex cycle, the Krebs cycle, where they are stripped of their electrons to produce ATP, the energy currency that powers your movement, your heartbeat, and your thoughts. But whenever you burn something, there is exhaust. If you burn wood in a fireplace, you get heat, light, ash, and smoke. In the human body, the smoke is carbon dioxide, and the ash is water. This brings us to one of the most astounding facts in human physiology, a truth that surprises almost everyone the first time they hear it. When you lose 10 kilograms of fat, where does that mass go? It does not become muscle. It does not exit primarily through the colon. It is not mostly sweat. 84% of that fat is breathed out as carbon dioxide. Yes, you literally exhale your lost weight. The carbon atoms that made up those triglyceride books in your library are attached to oxygen and expelled through your lungs. The remaining 16% turns into water, which leaves your body through urine, sweat, or tears. Let us pause to appreciate the implications of this, particularly regarding visceral fat. Visceral fat is not merely a storage unit. It is biologically active. It behaves like an angry organ. When it is overstocked, it releases inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. It is loud. It disrupts the communication between your other organs. As you drain these cells, as you disassemble the books and burn them in the mitochondrial fireplaces, you are not just losing volume. You are quieting a storm. You are reducing the systemic inflammation in your body. The pressure on your organs decreases. The liver functions with greater clarity. The metabolic noise subsides, replaced by a harmonious efficiency. It is a transition from a state of congestion to a state of flow. When we view weight loss through this lens, it ceases to be a battle against oneself and becomes a participation in the grand cycle of the universe. Consider the carbon atom that you just exhaled. Months or years ago, that atom was part of a plant, or part of an animal that ate a plant. That plant pulled the carbon out of the atmosphere through photosynthesis, using sunlight to bind it into a solid form. You consumed it, and your body stored it as a potential treasure in your visceral library. Now, through your effort, through your movement and your discipline, you are returning that carbon to the atmosphere. It is the law of conservation of mass in action. Nothing is lost. It is merely redistributed. You are, quite literally, vaporizing the past versions of yourself and releasing them back into the world to become something new. Perhaps a tree, a flower, or a breath of fresh air for another living being. There is a profound beauty in realizing that the act of becoming healthier is also an act of reconnection with nature. We function as engines of transformation. We take the solid and make it ethereal. We take the heavy and make it light. The fat that once burdened your organs, that pressed against your diaphragm and stressed your heart, transforms into the very breath of life. So, the next time you are engaging in physical activity or making a nutritious choice, do not think of it as punishment. Visualize the library. See the books being taken off the shelves, disassembled with care, transported by the albumin taxis, and finally oxidized in the fireplaces of your cells. Feel the air leaving your lungs and know that you are exhaling the weight, quite literally. You are lighter not just in mass, but in existence. It is a testament to the incredible, resilient design of the human vessel. It's a privilege to explore the wonders of the human body with you. If this explanation has helped you see your own biology in a new light, please consider supporting the channel by subscribing. Your subscription is what allows us to keep these educational explorations accessible to everyone, ensuring we can continue producing high-quality science with a human touch. Thank you for your time and for breathing with us today.